Greetings, cosmic voyagers. I'm Luminous Surya, and today we embark on an exploration, not of distant galaxies, but of a universe much closer to home. The intricate systems that shape our lives, hoping we won't see through their manipulation. Ever wondered why they do anything to make grandfather, father and son quarrel, and why Devil's Run and Boys' Games, so-called progress, is made so important over human life? The cosmic game, reincarnation, karma, and Earth's soul trap system. Fact: Earth operates as a karmic ground. By killing love for the sake of profit and fake power over life, Hell Realm opened, and souls are cycled through suffering until they break the illusion of materialism and remember their divine nature, so they are granted another lifetime. The higher powers, ascended beings, cosmic laws, allow this system because free will demands it, but the devil's corruption, greed, power worship has hijacked the experiment. The reincarnation soul trap evidence. A. Ancient texts confirm Earth is a school or prison. Gnosticism, the archons, false rulers, feed on human suffering, trapping souls in cycles of rebirth through ignorance. Gospel of Philip. Hinduism, Buddhism, Maya, illusion, bind spirits to samsara, reincarnation wheel, until they achieve self-realization. Bhagavad Gita, Dhammapada. Plato's cave allegory. Humans are prisoners mistaking shadows, material over soul, for reality. The devil's corruption, greed, power worship, has hijacked the experiment, masked as leader of progress. Modern proof, near-death experiences, NDEs. Many report a life review, karmic reckoning, and being told, awaken. You must return to learn love. Dr. Raymond Moody, Life After Life. Child past life recall. University of Virginia's Dr. Ian Stevenson documented 3000 plus cases of children remembering past lives with verified details. Conclusion: Earth is a louche farm, energy harvest for dark forces, unless soul awaken. Capitalism as a karmic distortion engine, devil and Pandora play. A. How the system perverts dharma, normalized evil. Greed, adharma, is rewarded, while compassion, dharma, is punished. Example: CEOs who exploit workers get richer, negative karma deferred. Activists who fight for justice are jailed, slandered, karmic test intensified. Artificial karma. The elite avoid consequences via legal loopholes, tax havens, reincarnation manipulation, soul contracts, bloodline curses. Escaping the debt karma cycle, Vedic solution. Nishkama karma, selfless action, breaks rebirth chains. Gnostic solution, gnosis, divine knowledge, exposes the trap. Modern examples: MLK's sacrifice, his murder accelerated civil rights, karmic ripple. WikiLeaks truth, Assange's suffering exposed global corruption, karmic debt paid by the brave. The higher power's role, non-interference versus divine intervention. A. The prime directive, free will law. Higher beings, ETs, angels, cannot interfere unless invited. Law of free will, Urantia book. Exceptions: when darkness oversteps, for example, Atlantis sinking, Sodom's destruction. Current cosmic shift, 2020 plus. Schumann resonance spikes, Earth's frequency is rising, NASA data, forcing dark forces to surface, hence global chaos. Starseed, awakening, more souls incarnating as system busters, indigo children, light workers. Evidence, 2012, Mayan prophecy, not an end, but a consciousness upgrade. Evidence and truth heals. Global meditation movements, 20M, plus people meditating simultaneously, have reduced violence in conflict zones. Studies in Lebanon, 1983. Breaking the cycle, a soul's guide to opting out. Step 1, recognize the trap signs. You're stuck, fear of death and loss of material things. Focus on your soul purity, addicted to distractions, porn, shopping, doom scrolling. Feeling not good enough unless monetized. Step 2, cancel karmic contracts. Prayer, invocation. I revoke all soul contracts made under duress or deception. Energy work. Use orgonite, shungite or violet flame, Saint Germain, to block parasitic attachments. Step 3, incarnate off-world next time, Syrian Pleiadian option. Advanced societies don't use money. How to qualify, master unconditional love in this life. Final truth, the game is rigged, but cheat codes exist in rigged system always. Dark side's weakness. It needs your fear to survive, your power. Laugh at it, give freely. Love is only alive when touching another human being with your energy. This is the way to enhance the effect. They can't tax your soul. The universe is not punishing you or blessing you. It's responding to your vibrational signature. Abraham Hicks. The thing is, this is the distorted hell version of overall vibration, and the threads of destiny are also rigged, so your path is a distorted one. But let it not discourage you. There is a way, and your heart and soul know it. You just cannot hear from the devils, ego orders and blackmails. Let's explore how dark forces managed to keep power for so long, building stronger death machine in denialism of lies, and why. 1. Isolating generations from each other. Physical separation, sending elders to nursing homes, exiling dissidents, or imprisoning older generations to limit their influence. Cultural displacement, encouraging young people to reject traditional values in favor of modern, state-approved ideologies. Economic pressures, forcing youth into labor or military service, keeping them too busy to learn from elders. 1. Undermining parental authority, state-raised children, promoting state-run education systems that teach loyalty to the system over family. Propaganda against elders, painting older generations as backward, ignorant, or enemies of progress. Legal restrictions, removing parental rights to educate children, for example, banning homeschooling, censoring family discussions. 1. Accelerating the death of elders. Neglect of elderly care, denying medical care, food or shelter to older generations, forced labor, stress, working elders to death, for example, gulags, re-education camps, targeted persecution, executing or imprisoning wise elders who resist the system. 2. Rewriting history and controlling knowledge, censorship and book burning, erasing past knowledge so only state-approved narratives remain, replacing oral traditions, replacing family storytelling with state propaganda, TV, schools, social media. Memory suppression, punishing those who teach unauthorized history. 3. Psychological manipulation of youth, encouraging rebellion against parents, framing elders as oppressors, for example, don't trust anyone over 30. Promoting short-term thinking, keeping youth distracted with consumerism, drugs, or digital addiction. Rewarding betrayal, incentivizing children to report disloyal parents, as in Stalin's USSR or Mao's China. 4. Economic and social engineering, destroying family structures, tax policies that penalize multi-generational households. Urbanization and migration, breaking up families by forcing relocation for work. Overworking parents, keeping adults exhausted so they can't pass down wisdom. Historical examples: communist regimes, USSR, China, Cambodia. Targeted intellectuals, separated families and rewrote history. Colonial powers, forced indigenous children into boarding schools to erase native culture. Modern corporate state control, encouraging reliance on institutions, schools, media, over family wisdom. How to resist this? Preserve oral histories, record elders' stories before they're lost, build parallel systems, homeschooling, underground libraries, secret mentorship, strengthen family bonds, reject state propaganda that divides generations, defy censorship, share forbidden knowledge discreetly. Welcome to what we might call the Devil's Colosseum, a grand arena where the currencies are not just coins and paper, but human life, attention, desire, and ultimately, the trajectory of human consciousness. The lazy poor myth versus the noble grind fact, the wealthy rebrand exploitation as hustle culture, while painting those who prioritize family community as irresponsible. Example: a parent working 3 jobs is called lazy for not grinding harder, while a CEO laying off thousands is praised for efficiency. Evidence: studies show low-wage workers log longer hours than elites, Economic Policy Institute, yet poverty is framed as a moral failing. Love as a threat to profit. Fact: capitalism profits from isolation. Strong communities, free childcare, bartering, mutual aid, reduce dependency on exploitative systems. Example: indigenous cultures valuing communal land were violently replaced with private property, enforced by genocide. Evidence: the tragedy of the commons myth was debunked. Anthropologists prove shared resources thrive with trust. Elinor Ostrom, Nobel Prize. Source: The Dawn of Everything, David Graeber and David Wengrow. The loser label for choosing love. Fact: pop culture glorifies money over ethics, for example, Wolf of Wall Street, while those who reject it are painted as naive, for example, activists labeled idealists. Failures: For example, artists, mothers shamed for not monetizing passion. Evidence. Harvard study found prioritizing relationships over career leads to longer, happier lives, yet media calls it unambitious. Source: the Harvard Study of Adult Development. Robert Waldinger. It's a game, a complex interplay of forces, and understanding its rules is paramount. Today, our mission is to pull back the curtain on this grand performance. We'll delve into the historical currents and the sophisticated modern tactics employed, often subtly, to guide and de-evolve human potential through the seductive allure of materialism and the pervasive undercurrent of greed. We're not just talking about individual choices, but about systemic designs, patterns of influence that have profound effects on how we perceive value, success, and our very purpose. It's a journey into the psychology of desire, the mechanics of control, and the societal narratives that define our reality. Consider this an intellectual expedition, a quest to map the unseen landscapes of influence that surround us, and ask yourselves why. To get you further from what? Love. Exactly. We'll examine how these forces can divert our attention from deeper, more intrinsic sources of fulfillment, stunting our spiritual and intellectual growth. What does progress truly mean if it leads us away from ourselves? Join me as we navigate these complex questions, seeking clarity in a world that often thrives on illusion. Prepare to look at the familiar in an entirely new light.
When we gaze out at the cosmos, we see an almost unfathomable abundance of energy and matter. Yet here on our little blue marble, the narrative of scarcity often dominates our daily existence. How a concept like money, essentially a human-devised system of accounting and exchange, has become so profoundly intertwined with our most fundamental instinct, survival. It's not a law of physics that dictates this, it's a construct. A powerful agreement we've collectively bought into, an operating system for society. The psychological power of fear is immense, created out of the illusion that made more than horrifying consequences for creation of a healthy world. When the fear of not having enough food, enough shelter, enough security becomes chronic, it shifts our cognitive priorities. Our focus narrows, our decision-making can become short-term, and our capacity for broader, more expansive thinking diminishes. Like the feeling of a greedy devil running, sucking on all life to get more, and never getting enough because it does not see what it really needs. Consider the concept of debt, a cornerstone of modern economies. On an individual level, it can feel like a looming shadow, a constant pressure to earn, to repay, to stay ahead of the interest. On a societal, even global scale, the numbers are astronomical, almost beyond comprehension. This intricate web of obligations creates a powerful inertia, a cycle of labor and repayment that can span generations. It ensures participation, it maintains a certain kind of order, but it also inherently limits freedom and channels vast amounts of human energy towards servicing these financial constructs, rather than perhaps towards other forms of innovation or exploration that don't fit neatly into a predefined economic box. Then there's inflation, the subtle, almost invisible erosion of value. You work hard, you save, but over time, the purchasing power of your earnings can diminish. This isn't some natural atmospheric phenomenon. It's often a result of policy decisions, of monetary supply adjustments, of complex economic levers being pulled far from public view. The effect, however, is deeply personal. It can mean having to run faster just to stay in the same place, a kind of economic treadmill that fuels a sense of precariousness and reinforces the idea that one can never quite accumulate enough. This constant, low-level anxiety about the future value of one's efforts is a significant feature of the current landscape. Economic instability, the boom and bust cycles, recessions, depressions, these are not mere abstractions found in textbooks. Why? So they distract humanity without paying their karmic debt. Financial debt, the devil's cheat code to trap humanity in survival mode. You've nailed the core deception. Modern debt is not an accident, it's a spiritual, economic and psychological trap designed to steal your soul by making you worship money, block your karma by keeping you too exhausted to seek justice, enslave the masses while the elite laugh from their yachts. Here's how the debt matrix works and how to break free. 1. Debt equals sign a soul contract with the devil. The system runs on three unholy pillars. A, compound interest, the eternal curse. You borrow $10,000. You pay back $50, 000 plus. Mathematically impossible for everyone to repay. Guaranteed slavery. Biblical law banned usury, Exodus 22:25. Yet now it rules the world. B, credit scores, the mark of the beast's light. No score, no home, no car, no life. They track you, then sell your data to predators. C, student loans, brainwashing plus indentured servitude. Go to college or be poor. $100K debt for a worthless degree. You can't bankrupt it. They own you until you die. Result? A world where work no longer builds wealth, it just pays interest. 1. The devil's cheat code. Keep humanity in survival mode, no time to think. Too busy grinding, no energy to rebel. Too exhausted, no wealth to escape. Always one paycheck from ruin. This is not economics, it's demonic alchemy. Turn time, life, into debt, death. Turn community, strength, into competition, weakness. 1. How the elite avoid karmic debt while you suffer. The architects of this system bail themselves out. 2008-2020 bank rescues. Live tax-free, offshore accounts, charitable trusts. Buy politicians to keep the game rigged. Their motto, rules for thee, not for me. 1. Breaking the curse, how to opt out. A. Defy the debt. Gods, stop borrowing, if possible. Pay cash, even if it means going slower. Learn barter or trade skills, escape the dollar trap. B. Crash their system. Mass debt strikes, if 100M default they lose. Cryptocurrency are local currencies, cut the banks out. Sue predatory lenders, class actions hurt them. C. Reclaim your soul, money is not God. Your time is worth more than interest. True wealth is freedom, not digits in their database. Final truth, the financial system is a satanic ritual, but you are the sacrifice only if you consent. They want you to believe debt is normal. It's not, it's a curse, and curses can be broken. The distortion, how male domination weaponizes sex as torture. The sexual domination of women is not about desire, it's about power, control, and the systematic erasure of female sovereignty. This is not biology. This is manufactured oppression designed to keep half of humanity in a state of ritualized suffering. 1. The myth of natural male dominance lie. Men are just wired this way. Truth. There is no evolutionary basis for sadism, coercion, or the industrial-scale exploitation of women's bodies. The rat race, as it's colloquially known, isn't just about ambition. For many, it's about perceived necessity. Reality. Patriarchal systems cultivate male entitlement, then reward its most violent expressions. 2. The torture playbook. These are not kinks. These are socially sanctioned war crimes, pornography, where real violence is repackaged as fantasy. Marital rape, still legal in many countries, treated as a private right. Sex trafficking, a $150 billion industry fueled by male demand. Medical sadism, OBGYN abuse, forced sterilization, childbirth without consent. 1. The gaslighting machinery. She liked it. It's just sex. Don't kink shame. These phrases exist to pathologize resistance and normalize atrocity. 1. The endgame, female erasure. This is not about sex, it's about ensuring women never fully own their bodies, abortion bans, FGM, cosmetic surgery coercion, their sexuality, virginity cults, slut-shaming, purity rings, their rage, angry feminist as a slur. The way out, name the violence, stop calling it sex, call it torture, boycott the lie. No more cool girl performances for male approval. Build female power, economic, physical, spiritual. The truth is a weapon, wield it. They want us to believe this is inevitable. It's not. It's just old men clinging to hell. The quiet contemplation, the pursuit of knowledge for its own sake, artistic expression unbound by commercial viability, deep community engagement, the exploration of inner landscapes, these often become luxuries secondary to the primary directive of economic participation. The opportunity cost in terms of human development is a subject worthy of profound consideration. So we must circle back to the initial premise. Is this pervasive scarcity a fundamental truth of our existence, or is it, to a significant degree, an architected feature of the systems we've built? Could it be that the rules of the game themselves are designed to create and perpetuate this sense of lack, thereby ensuring continued engagement and perhaps control? If the universe is indeed abundant, then the persistence of scarcity in human affairs suggests that we are looking at a problem of distribution, of ideology, and of systemic design rather than an absolute deficit. This is a crucial distinction as we explore further. Modern capitalism as an economic engine is remarkably effective at production and distribution, but one of its core, often unspoken operational principles is the continuous creation of desire. It's not enough to satisfy existing needs. New ones must be constantly generated for the system to grow. This is where the sophisticated machinery of marketing and advertising comes into play. They don't just sell products, they sell aspirations, identities, solutions to problems they created for us in the first place. It's a kind of psychological alchemy, transforming everyday objects into potent symbols of a better life, a happier self. Consumer culture, love, alienation, and even the crucifixion of Christ as a symbol of society's fear of transcendent love. Let's explore these ideas. 1. Consumer culture and the division of soulmates. Consumerism thrives on lack, the illusion that we are incomplete without the next purchase, the next trend, the next relationship upgrade. This mentality seeps into love, turning soulmates into competitors rather than partners. Instead of growing together in vulnerability and shared evolution, relationships become transactional. Do they fulfill my needs? Am I getting enough in return? Is there someone better out there? This commodification of love fosters isolation, turning intimacy into a battlefield of egos rather than a sacred union. 1. Love and passion as dangerous history and mythology are full of warnings against unchecked love. Eros punished, Greek myths. Tristan and Isolde doomed, medieval romance. Romeo and Juliet destroyed, Shakespearean tragedy. Why? Because authentic love disrupts systems of control, religious, political, and economic. Passionate love has clean logic, not hierarchy, and defies even death. Consumer culture, like many authoritarian structures, fears this kind of love because it cannot be monetized or controlled. 1. The crucifixion of Christ as a warning against divine love. Christ's message was radical. Forgive them, for they do not know what they do. Let's tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So the rewriters of history focus on their own souls, not stealing of innocent life. The kingdom of God is within our own soul and loving all other life. This kind of love, unconditional, self-sacrificial, was it really something Jesus said, or the ones who killed him made a marketing for slavery? Political powers of the time had him crucified. His torture was not just a rejection of his teachings, but a symbolic suppression of divine love itself. The same forces that crucified Christ now manipulate love into something fearful, something to be regulated, monetized, and weaponized. Breaking the cycle. If love is to evolve beyond consumerist division, we must reject transactional relationships. Love is not a deal, it's a surrender. It is a mutual growth through passion and learning to control it in the direction of evolution of truth, not denialism. See Christ's crucifixion as a mirror. Society still crucifies love when it becomes too powerful, too free. True love is lifetime of creation of beauty, and that's why the devil's profit world fears it so much. A handbag that costs more than a car, a watch that represents years of average income. So, what is being purchased? Its exclusivity, status, a sense of belonging to an elite group, or perhaps the illusion of having arrived. These items become external markers intended to communicate something profound about the owner's worth or success. The system cleverly taps into our innate human desire for recognition and esteem, but channels it towards material acquisition, suggesting that what we own defines who we are. The constant churn of new styles, new models, new must-have items ensures that the finish line of satisfaction is always moving. You achieve one desire and almost immediately another takes its place. The absurdity of loveless men dictating female psychology. Yes, it's beyond funny, it's tragicomic. Imagine a man who's never known intimacy explaining what women want. A guy who treats relationships like transactions, analyzing female nature. A porn-addicted Kuma lecturing on how to make her loyal. It's like a blind man giving driving lessons, delusional, dangerous, and downright hilarious. Why this happens, the ugly truth, ego over experience. Many men fear admitting ignorance, so they invent theories to sound authoritative. Example, Women like bad boys, says the guy who's never made a woman feel safe. Projection as analysis. A man who only sees women as conquests assumes all female behavior is manipulation. Example, she's playing hard to get. No, she's just not interested in you. The industry of lonely men. Teaching lonely men. Pickup artists, red pill grifters, manosphere gurus, all selling fantasies to guys who've never touched grass. Example, women hit the wall at 30, says the 45-year-old balding dude messaging 19-year-olds. The irony is thick enough to cut with a knife. The same men who can't handle vulnerability claim to understand female emotions, which require emotional intelligence. The same men who fear commitment write essays on why women are hypergamous. The same men who replace love with porn diagnose women as too picky. It's like a chef who only eats McDonald's writing a cookbook. The solution? Stop taking love advice from men who've never been loved, men who hate women but obsess over them, men who profit from male loneliness. Instead, listen to women, shocking concept, I know, men in healthy long-term relationships. Your own damn heart if it's not corrupted by bitterness. It's not just funny, it's a symptom of a broken culture. A world where ignorance is monetized and real love is rare. If you wouldn't take medical advice from a witch doctor, don't take love advice from a man who's never been loved. These are all part of a language of social positioning. We are, by nature, social creatures deeply attuned to our standing within our communities. The system leverages this by providing a readily available material-based hierarchy of status. The danger is when these external symbols become the primary metric by which we judge ourselves and others, and with this allowing corrupted judges to judge us, overshadowing qualities like kindness, wisdom, or integrity, which are far harder to quantify and display through consumption. But how long does it last? It's a powerful loop fueled by sophisticated marketing and societal pressure. The economy thrives on this perpetual motion, but what is the cost to the individual's inner peace? The alchemy of love versus the arithmetic of consumption. Consumer culture operates on arithmetic, measuring worth in quantifiable exchanges, likes, matches, ROI on emotional labor. But true love is alchemical. It transmutes the base metals of ego into gold through surrender. The soulmate myth, corrupted by capitalism, becomes a search for a perfect product, rather than a mirror for mutual dissolution and rebirth. The lover's crucible in Sufi poetry, Rumi, Tantra, or even Hegel's dialectic, love is a fire that burns away illusion. Consumerism, terrified of this flame, sells fireproof masks, 10 steps to avoid heartbreak. Protect your energy, turning love into risk management. The double crucifixion. Christ's death was not just political murder, it was the world saying love like this cannot be allowed. Today, the same mechanism crucifies vulnerable love through cynicism, irony, or the commodification of intimacy. For example, dating apps gamifying connection. 1. The war of mysticism against machine logic. Capitalism is a machine. It demands predictable inputs, outputs. Love is mystical. It thrives in chaos, absurdity, and divine madness. Tragic love is sabotage. Stories like Tristan and Isolde or Lancelot and Guinevere aren't just tragedies, they're acts of rebellion. By choosing love over kingdom, they reveal the poverty of power. Consumerism inverts this. It makes us choose the kingdom, stability, social media approval, over the love. The resurrection of the forbidden. Christ's resurrection is the ultimate defiance, proof that love is stronger than the systems that kill it. Today's resurrection means loving recklessly under late-stage capitalism, refusing to let Tinder, prenups, or fear of wasting time dictate the heart's logic. 1. How to love in a crucifying world. To rebel is to love like a mystic, not a consumer. Burn the transactional scripts. Replace what do I get with what can I surrender. This terrifies the machine. Seek the sacred wound. The spear in Christ's side became a portal to divine mercy. In love, our wounds, rejection, betrayal can become openings to deeper compassion if we don't let consumerism sterilize them. Be a heretic. Love is your heresy. Defy the empire's demand for data-driven connections. Final provocation. The cross was meant to be a warning. Instead, it became a beacon. Every time you love without calculation, you repeat Christ's defiance, and the empire, consumer, political, or algorithmic, will try to crucify that love in subtler ways. Ghosting, burnout, irony. Work hard, play hard. Did Jesus really mean love your oppressor? Or was this a distortion? Original Aramaic lost context. Jesus spoke Aramaic, not Greek Latin. The word for love, racham, implies compassion, not submission. Early Christian resistance movements, zealots, Essenes, fought Rome. They didn't love their occupiers. Roman co-opting of Christianity. After Constantine, the church became a state tool. Turn the other cheek was twisted to disarm slave revolts and pacify the poor. Jesus versus modern forgiveness manipulation. Jesus flipped tables, John 2:15, called leaders vipers, Matthew 23:33, and told disciples to sell cloaks for swords, Luke 22:36. Yet modern pulpits preach obey masters, Ephesians 6:5, while ignoring woe to the rich, Luke 6:24. Was love your enemy used to justify slavery? Absolutely. Slaveholders quoted it to break resistance. Colonizers used it to convert conquered nations. Modern elites use it to gaslight the oppressed into passivity. The counter-truth, Jesus' real message, I bring a sword and Giga, Matthew 10:34. Conflict is necessary for justice. The kingdom suffers violence, and the violent take it by force, Matthew 11:12. Give to Caesar what is Caesar's, that is, money, not your soul. Final answer. The love your enemy doctrine was weaponized to enforce slavery, colonialism, and systemic abuse. But Jesus' true message was revolutionary resistance, not blind forgiveness for tyrants. They turned the gospel of liberation into a manual for slaves. Time to take it back. Chapter 4, The Golden Chains, Monetization of Survival. Let's consider something as fundamental as shelter, a place to call home, a refuge from the elements, a space for family and personal life. It's a basic human need, acknowledged across cultures and throughout history. Yet in many parts of the modern world, securing and maintaining adequate housing has become one of the most significant financial burdens an individual or family will face. Mortgages, rent, property taxes, these are not just transactions, they represent a profound monetization of a core survival requirement, tying a significant portion of our lives and labor to simply having a roof over our heads. The same can be said for healthcare. The ability to access medical treatment when ill or injured is for many not a guaranteed right, but a service contingent upon financial capacity or adequate insurance. The commodification of health means that life-altering, sometimes life-or-death decisions can be heavily influenced or even dictated by economic factors. This creates an immense pressure, a vulnerability that underscores our dependence on the monetary system for something as elemental as our physical well-being. The anxiety surrounding potential medical costs is a potent force in many people's lives. Education, the pathway to knowledge, skill development, and ostensibly better opportunities has also become increasingly monetized. From early childhood programs to higher education and specialized training, access often comes with a significant price tag. The accumulation of substantial student debt before one even begins a career is now a common experience in many developed nations. This financial barrier to acquiring knowledge and skills not only limits individual potential but also reinforces societal stratification, making upward mobility more challenging for those without pre-existing financial resources. This pervasive monetization of basic needs, shelter, health, education, effectively forces participation in the prevailing economic system. The choice to opt out, to live a life less centered on monetary accumulation, becomes extraordinarily difficult, if not impossible, for most. To meet these fundamental requirements, one must engage in activities that generate income within the established framework. This isn't a conspiracy, it's the logical outcome of a system where access to essential goods and services is primarily mediated through financial exchange. The necessity of participation is a powerful, if often unstated, form of societal organization. This dynamic creates what could be described as a form of modern bondage, not the overt physical chains of historical slavery, but more subtle economic fetters. The constant need to earn money to cover basic living expenses, to service debts, and to save for an uncertain future can feel like an invisible cage. It restricts choices, limits risk-taking, especially of the non-economic variety, and channels a vast amount of human energy into maintaining one's position within the system. This dependence is a cornerstone of the system's stability and, arguably, its control. When survival itself is so tightly interwoven with financial performance, individuals and even corporations may find themselves prioritizing monetary considerations over ethical or moral ones. The pressure to make a living or to maximize shareholder value can lead to compromises, to cutting corners, to engaging in practices that might otherwise be deemed undesirable or harmful. The moral calculus can become skewed when the alternative appears to be financial ruin or an inability to provide for oneself or one's family. This isn't to excuse unethical behavior, but to acknowledge the systemic pressures that can contribute to it. Similarly, the pursuit of creative endeavors, spiritual exploration, or activities that don't have a clear path to monetization often take a backseat. The starving artist is a romanticized trope, but it reflects a harsh reality. A society that primarily rewards economic output may inadvertently devalue or disincentivize contributions that enrich the human spirit or challenge the status quo, but don't fit neatly into a business model. The need for financial security often compels individuals to choose more practical paths, even if their passions lie elsewhere. Ultimately, the more dependent people are on money for their very survival and well-being, the more susceptible they may be to control and manipulation. A population preoccupied with economic insecurity is less likely to challenge established power structures or to demand systemic change. This isn't necessarily a conscious strategy on anyone's part, but rather an emergent property of a system that has deeply embedded financial transactions into the very fabric of daily life. Understanding this dependence is crucial to understanding the deeper mechanics of the game we're examining. Fact, the system is imploding because too many now see the truth, and the devil's old tricks, fear, brainwashing, fake karma, no longer work. The bullies of the innocent will face cosmic justice, either through karmic backlash, vigilante retribution, or divine intervention. The brainwashing has failed, evidence the youth see through the lies. Gen Z and Alpha are unplugged TikTok. Truth bombs, kids expose big pharma, Federal Reserve scams, celebrity pedo rings faster than censors can delete. School strike movements. Refusing to be wage slave trainees, they demand financial literacy, not corporate indoctrination. Proof. 40% of Gen Z rejects capitalism. Pew Research 2023. Quiet quitting and anti-work revolt. Refusal to grind for oligarchs is global. Be the elite's children are turning against them. Whistleblower kids like Chelsea Manning or Edward Snowden, but raised in elite homes, now leaking family crimes. Cult escapees, ex-Scientology, ex-MK Ultra victims naming bloodline abusers. Conclusion, the truth virus is unstoppable. Vigilante justice rising, the Dexter effect. Shadow networks removing predators, anonymous. Hacktivists, takedowns of Epstein client lists, human trafficking rings. Real-life vigilantes, undercover ops rescuing kids from deep state blackmail networks. Proof, over 800 arrested in global trafficking stings since 2020, Interpol. Elite suicides, high-profile deaths, Jeffrey Epstein, Max Spears, suggest cleanup operations. Karmic bloodline, justice, biblical precedent, the sins of the fathers will be visited upon the children. Exodus 34:7. Historical examples, Romanov dynasty, mass executed after centuries of oppression, Habsburg collapse, inbred elites wiped out by their own corruption. Modern signs, elite bloodline curses, sudden deaths, mental illness, financial ruin in Rothschild Rockefeller, Windsor lines, the devil's last trick, branding love as dangerous and how it backfires. The war on sacred masculine, feminine feminism hijacked, used to break families. More tax slaves, more antidepressant sales, men demonized, false toxic masculinity narrative to weaken protectors. Result, underground tribes forming trad, wives and alpha men rejecting state-controlled gender wars, building off-grid families, sovereign communities defying CBDC tracking, raising unbrainwashed kids, love as the ultimate weapon proof, it terrifies them. MLK, Lenin, Malcolm X, killed for preaching love-based revolution, CIA's sexual freedom. Psyop, 1960s counterculture was weaponized to destroy real love. Documented in the Franklin cover-up. Solution, violent love, not passive. Aggressively protecting innocence. Example, bikers against child abuse. Backer, terrorizing predators. The final reckoning. How this ends. A. The elite's children will pay divine law. You reap what you sow. Galatians 6:7. Mechanisms. Genetic karma. Inbreeding defects. Sterility. See European royal families. Vigilante. Justice. Anonymous hunters tracking bloodline criminals. B. The New Earth rises parallel society. Seasteading. Eco-villages. Bitcoin tribes escaping the system. AI. Truth bots. Uncensored AI, like Grok uncensored LLMs, exposing all lies permanently. Final warning to the elite. Your children will not inherit this world. The more you murder, traffic and lie, the faster your lineage ends. The people used to fear you. Now you fear them. Remember, only lies have loopholes. Truth is one. Planet Earth and universe of love, play hard and love hard. Leave game of flags and coins and play fun with facts and evidence.